I wired my cousin $250,000, no questions asked, to help her rebuild her life after a messy divorce. I even told her, family helps family, but on what was supposed to be my wedding day. She wore white, standing beside my fiancé, at the luxury resort I owned without even knowing it, before I stayed quiet. But not today. Today I'm telling you everything. I was the quiet one in the family. While they flaunted their yachts and gallery openings on social media, I was the underachiever. The one who never posted, never bragged, never cared about their approval. My trust fund was modest by family standards. Enough for a small apartment in Back Bay. A reliable Honda. Dinners that didn't require checking the price twice. They pitied me. Poor Amelia working at that little nonprofit. Still renting at 32. No husband, no children, no Instagram-worthy life to show off at family gatherings. I preferred it that way. Growing up in the Whitmore shadow taught me early that money made people stupid. Made them careless. Made them assume that wealth meant wisdom, that inheritance meant intelligence. My grandfather built Whitmore Industries from nothing. Steel, then real estate, then venture capital. By the time he died, the empire was worth $12 billion. The family fought over every penny, except for the part they didn't know about. The quiet part. The part he'd been building in silence for the last 20 years of his life. Shell companies, offshore trusts, anonymous LLCs. Properties bought through intermediaries. Investments made through philanthropic fronts. He called it his insurance policy, against his own children, against their greed, against their stupidity. He left it all to me, not because I was his favorite, because I was the only one who'd never asked him for money, the only one who'd gotten a job after college instead of joining the family business, the only one who understood that real power came from being underestimated. The letter from his attorney arrived 3 days after the funeral. Miss Whitmore, your grandfather has left you the contents of Safety Deposit Box 247 at First National. The key is attached. Inside, you'll find documents establishing you as the sole beneficiary of the Whitmore Capital Trust. Current assets, $2.3 billion. He requested that you tell no one. I sat in my studio apartment staring at the letter. Then I went to work, like nothing had changed. Because nothing had changed. I was still Amelia. Still quiet. Still working at the Boston Children's Education Fund, helping low-income kids get scholarships. The only difference was that now I owned the buildings where my cousins lived, the companies where they worked, the restaurants where they celebrated their small victories. I watched, I waited, I learned, and I fell in love. James Harper was everything my family would have approved of. Harvard MBA, investment banking, family money from Connecticut. The kind of man who opened doors and paid for dinner and never questioned why I was content with so little. He proposed on a Tuesday. Nothing elaborate. Just the two of us in our favorite coffee shop near his office. I know it's not much, he said, sliding the ring box across the table. But I love you exactly as you are. The ring was beautiful. A carat and a half perfectly cut. He'd probably saved for months. I said yes, because I loved him too, because he'd never once asked about my family's money. Never pushed me to network or leverage my connections. Never made me feel less than enough. We planned a small wedding, his family's church in Mystic. A reception at the local yacht club. Maybe 60 people total. My family was appalled. The Whitmore name deserves better, my mother said. What will people think? That we're in love, I replied. Love doesn't pay for Harvard tuition. My cousin Bradley sneered. What happens when you want kids? You can't raise children on nonprofit salaries. I smiled, said nothing. Because that's what quiet people do. Then Celeste's marriage imploded. She'd married young. 22, straight out of college, to a finance guy who treated her like a trophy. For 8 years, she played the part. Perfect wife, perfect house, perfect Instagram feed, until she caught him with his assistant. The divorce was messy, public, the kind of scandal that made the society pages. Celeste handled it badly. She'd never worked, never had to budget, never been denied anything she wanted. Suddenly, she was 30, divorced, and facing the reality of alimony that barely covered her Botox appointments. She came to me on a Thursday evening. I was grading scholarship applications when she knocked. Still in her yoga clothes, hair pulled back, eyes red from crying. "I need help," she said. I made tea, let her talk. "I can't stay in Boston," she said. "Everyone knows. Everyone's talking. I need to go somewhere quiet, start over." She had a plan, a small town in Maine, a flower shop. Something simple, something real. "I just need seed money," she said. "Something to get me started. I'll pay you back, I promise." I believed her. We were raised like sisters. Same schools, same summers, same family traditions. She'd been my maid of honor at age 8, walking down the aisle at my cousin's wedding with a basket of rose petals. "How much?" I asked. "Maybe 50,000, I know it's a lot, but I'll transfer 250,000 tomorrow," I said. Her mouth fell open. "Amelia, I can't." "You can, and you will, because family helps family." The money was in her account by noon the next day. She cried when she called to thank me. "I'll make this work," she promised. "I'll build something beautiful." She moved to Camden, Maine 2 weeks later. For a month, she sent updates, photos of her cottage, the shop she was renovating, arrangements she was learning to make. Then the messages stopped. James started working late. First once a week, then twice, then every night. "Big deal coming through," he said. "Private equity acquisition, could make my career." I understood. I'd always understood. He moved out of our apartment in October. "Just temporary," he said. "I need to be closer to the office. There's a place in the Berkshires I can rent. Perfect for focusing." The Berkshires, where Celeste had been posting photos from. Hiking trails, farmers markets, cozy coffee shops. I didn't say anything. I waited. I watched. I verified. My security team confirmed it within 48 hours. James Harper, residing at 247 Maple Ridge Road, Lenox, Massachusetts. Cohabitating with Celeste Whitmore, a.k.a. Celeste Morrison, a.k.a. the woman who'd taken my money and stolen my fiancé. I could have confronted them. Could have driven to the Berkshires and made a scene. Could have called my family, exposed their betrayal, played the victim. Instead, I planned a wedding. Not mine. Theirs. I knew Celeste. She wouldn't be able to resist making it public. She'd been quiet for too long, invisible for too many months. The need to be seen, to be envied, to be celebrated would override any sense of shame or guilt. She'd want the perfect venue, the perfect photos, the perfect revenge against the family who'd whispered about her divorce. I owned 12 luxury resorts across New England, all purchased through anonymous LLCs, all managed by companies with no visible connection to the Whitmore name. I waited for her to find one. It took 3 weeks. The Mountain View Resort in Manchester, Vermont. Boutique property, intimate setting, perfect for a small ceremony. Spectacular views, exceptional service, the kind of place that would photograph beautifully. She booked it for December 15th, my original wedding date. I let her. I let them plan their secret ceremony. I let them believe they were getting away with it. I let them send invitations to James's family, but not mine. I let them think I was still the quiet, naive cousin who'd never see it coming. On December 14th, I was supposed to be getting married. Instead, I was having breakfast with my attorney. "Everything's ready," he said. "The documentation is clean. The trail is clear. When do you want to proceed?" "Tomorrow," I said, "after the ceremony. And if they try to contest it," I smiled, "let them." My phone buzzed at 2:47 p.m. on December 15th. A text from my cousin Bradley, "Turn on Instagram now." I opened the app. There was Celeste, in my wedding dress. Not literally my dress, but close enough. White silk off-the-shoulder flowing train. The kind of dress that cost more than most people's cars. She was radiant. James looked handsome in his navy suit. The same suit he'd planned to wear to our wedding. They were standing on the terrace of the Mountain View Resort, surrounded by white roses and fairy lights. The mountains stretched behind them, painted gold by the setting sun. The caption read, "Sometimes the best things happen when you're not looking for them. So grateful for this perfect day and this perfect man. New beginnings. Blessed beyond measure, love wins." 600 likes in the first hour. Comments pouring in from his family, his friends, strangers who followed her lifestyle content. "Gorgeous! Congratulations. You deserve this happiness." I screenshotted everything. Then I called the resort. "This is Amelia Whitmore," I said. "I need to speak with your manager, Ms. Whitmore." "Of course. Is everything satisfactory with today's event?" "Perfect, actually. I need you to prepare the final bill for the Morrison-Harper wedding. All services, all charges. I want it delivered to their suite tonight." "Of course. Will you be handling payment through the usual account?" "No," I said. "They'll be paying directly." The bill totaled $47,847. Venue rental, $15,000. Catering for 40 guests, $12,000. Flowers, $8,000. Photography, $5,000. Music, $3,000. Spa services, $2,000. Incidentals, $2,847. I had the manager include a handwritten note on resort letterhead. "Mr. Harper and Ms. Morrison, thank you for choosing Mountain View Resort for your special day. We hope the flowers were fresh, and the memories will last forever. Payment is due within 48 hours. Please remit to the address below. Sincerely, the management." The address was my attorney's office. They called at 11:30 p.m. James first. "Amelia, I can explain." I hung up. "Celeste next. Please just listen." I hung up. Then my mother. "What have you done?" "What needed to be done? That's not how family handles things." "You're right," I said. "Family doesn't steal from each other." I hung up on her too. The next morning I called my attorney. "Cancel the LLC license for Petal & Prose," I said. "Freeze all associated accounts. Initiate eviction proceedings for the Camden property. All of it. All of it." Celeste's flower shop was closed by noon. Her business credit was flagged by 3 p.m. Her rental lease was terminated by 5 p.m. She called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. James received a different kind of letter, hand-delivered to his office by a process server. A cease and desist order. A demand for return of the engagement ring. A detailed accounting of shared expenses during our relationship. And a bill for $250,000. The money I'd given Celeste, with interest. He called me 93 times over the next 3 days. I counted. On the 4th day, he showed up at my office. I was in a meeting with scholarship recipients. High school seniors who'd overcome impossible odds to earn their spots at top universities. "I need to see Amelia Whitmore," he told my assistant. "She's unavailable. Tell her it's James Harper. Tell her it's urgent." My assistant knocked on the conference room door. "There's a James Harper here to see you. He says it's urgent." I looked at the students around the table. Brilliant kids from Roxbury, Dorchester, East Boston. Kids who'd never had anything handed to them. "Tell Mr. Harper that Ms. Whitmore is busy helping people who deserve her time." He waited 4 hours. I made him wait. When the students left, I finally agreed to see him. He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled shirt, dark circles under his eyes. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't. I love you. You have an interesting way of showing it." "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." "How was it supposed to happen?" He sat down without being invited. Celeste was broken. She needed someone to listen, to understand. So you listened with your penis. He flinched. It wasn't like that. What was it like? I don't know. I was confused. You were always so independent, so sure of yourself. You never needed me the way she did. I needed you to not fuck my cousin. Don't be crude. Don't be a cheater. He stood up. Keep the ring, keep everything, but I want you to know that I really did love you. Past tense, I said. What? You said did, past tense, which means you don't anymore. You can go now. He left. I never saw him again. But I wasn't done. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my publicist. Yes, I had a publicist. Had for 3 years. Part of the long-term plan. Forbes wants to do a cover story, she said. About quiet wealth. About people who build empires without the noise. What kind of story? The kind that changes everything. The interview took place at my real office, not the nonprofit. The other one? The 42nd floor of a building I owned in downtown Boston. The reporter was a woman named Sarah Chen. Smart, thorough, the kind of journalist who did her homework. Most people don't know who you are, she said. Most people don't need to. But you control assets worth over $2 billion. I control assets worth over $3 billion. Why the secrecy? Why the publicity? She laughed. Touché. But surely there's a reason you're talking now. There is. What? Because sometimes people mistake quietness for weakness. And it's important to correct that mistake. The story ran 3 weeks later. Cover of Forbes. The Quiet Billionaire: How Amelia Whitmore Built an Empire in Silence. The photo was perfect. Me in my office looking out over Boston Harbor. Simple black dress, minimal jewelry, confident smile. The article detailed everything. The trust from my grandfather. The shell companies and anonymous investments. The real estate empire hidden behind charitable foundations. The venture capital fund that had quietly backed 12 successful startups. The scholarship program that had sent over 200 kids to college. All of it legal. All of it brilliant. All of it mine. My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. the day the magazine hit stands. I didn't answer. I was having breakfast, reading the article one more time. My favorite part was near the end. When asked about her approach to business, Whitmore is characteristically understated. I learned early that the most dangerous people are the ones nobody sees coming. The ones who smile and stay quiet and remember everything. I've never needed to be the loudest person in the room. I've always preferred to own the room. That afternoon, I finally answered my phone. It was my mother. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. The whole family is in chaos. Bradley's wife is asking questions about the properties. Susan thinks you've been lying to us for years. I haven't been lying. I've been quiet. There's a difference. You've made us all look like fools. You've made yourselves look like fools. I just stopped hiding it. What do you want from us? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. I hung up. An hour later, Celeste called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Congratulations, she said. Thank you. I deserved it. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I know. Are we okay? We're family, I said. We'll always be family, but we're not friends. We're not confidants. We're not sisters. You burned that bridge when you decided my money was more important than my trust. I was desperate. You had options. You chose the worst one. What happens now? Now you figure out how to build a life without my help. And James, what about him? Are you going to destroy him too? I thought about it. James was weak, but he wasn't malicious. He just made a bad choice. He'll live with the consequences, but I'm not going to ruin him. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the fact that I'm not as cruel as you were. I hung up. That was 6 months ago. I never called Celeste again. never spoke to James, never gloated, never had to. Because when you're really rich, you don't raise your voice. You raise the floor beneath you, and everyone else falls through.